More great news. We've edited and uploaded all the recorded talks from the Health and Wellness Day at Gamification Europe 2020. So you can watch them again. Or if you didn't get to see them live the first time, you can watch them for the first time, obviously. I would quite like to talk you through the talks, but first of all, I want to say a great thanks to Betty Adamu, who was the chair for the Health and Wellness Day, who really kept things ticking along and helped out if there were any tech issues with the speakers. So highly recommend you check out one of Betty's talks from the previous year of Gamification Europe as well. Okay, let's have a little look. What did we have on the Health and Wellness Day? So, well, let's go big. Here we go. Can we see that? Yeah. I've kept these on the playlist on the Gamification Europe YouTube channel in the order in which they were done on the day. So you can experience things in the same order we did, if you like. And we started off the day with a great keynote from Ben Wilkins, CEO of Good Boost, who, I mean, how do we put this? Oh, to boil down his talk, it was about how laughter worked better than badges, I think, in gamification's point of view. So I really like his talk was very engaging. It was all about rehab and musculoskeletal conditions. His target audience is kind of like the over 60s, and where badges sometimes work on other people, they did not work on this age group. And he's got some great tips on how they used GIFs and laughter and memes, hence the name of the talk, Arthritis Memes Business, and how they work better. And if anything, a great tip from his talk is around how he does a lot of co-creation with the actual audience. So highly recommend watching that. That's Ben Wilkins. The second talk, I was really pleased to get James Voss from Vitality Discovery to come and talk. This is a massive, large-scale health and insurance thing. Their program is often white labeled into different countries with different insurance companies. Vitality is the main brand when you see it around. They've got these massive targets to benefit hundreds of millions of lives through their services and how they gamify it. And they've been doing it long enough now that he shows us some great stats about how they've actually extended their customers' lifespans by years through them taking part in the gamification. And obviously we can hear how they do that, examples of that in the talk. So I think that's a really great talk to take, to really have fun with listening to. Okay. Then after James's talk, we've got Toby Beresford. He did a great talk about, a very topical talk about coronavirus metrics and how they're presented to us by different governments and how the way they're presented quite often doesn't encourage the right behavior change. This is relevant across all statistics, dashboards, and things like that you need to think about how you're presenting data. And so he looks at the real challenges in it through the lens of coronavirus metrics, and then starts talking about how we can actually do it better, how we could talk about, make sure we display numbers in a positive manner rather than a negative manner, things like that. Maybe not even use numbers. Maybe there's other ways to display data. So he's very engaging. I highly recommend you watch his talk, and then when you get inspired by him, go and look for his book, Infinite Gamification, as well, which is, in essence, a really easy to read practical manual on how to get and apply gamification to lots of different situations. It's one of the most practical out there. The talk after Toby's was Natalie and Suzanne, who presciently, yeah, that's the word, had been working on pandemic preparedness training in Africa. And so we get to hear about that, but we also particularly hear about the game mechanics that work. And what I like about this whole session is, although they do quite a lot, they've really, really used the game mechanic of role play very effectively to make a real difference in the quality of training, how people see that. So I like it when we have a talk where we're just focusing on one game mechanic and how it can be done well. Really pleasing. After Natalie and Suzanne, we were due to have David, but due to time zone issues and various other things, he couldn't make it. But he's nothing if not an outstanding gentleman, so he recorded a special session for us after the conference, and I've added it in to the playlist. It's actually hosted on his YouTube channel. It's got a nice little apology to attendees at the beginning of it. So what did David talk about, though? He actually talked about his personal journey to beat obesity using gamification, and uses that as the basis to illustrate how effective gamification and the enabling technologies that we have around feeding back information to you can be used for behavioral health change effectively. So I do recommend that one because you can apply it to your product, your service, or even just how you gamify your own behaviors, particularly when it comes to health. After David, we had Rita Orji. She's just a superb academic director of the Persuasive Computing Lab. And she took us through lots of real life examples to show us how to create gamified persuasive systems effectively, particularly for health and wellness behaviors. I don't think I've seen quite so many examples where someone's actually worked on most of them as well. There's a really effective talk. We had a few issues with the presentation in terms of, in the end, I had to click next on lots of things while she said next, but having watched it back, you soon get used to that, and it's well worth sticking with it and learning from Rita. Following Rita's talk, we had a great little short talk from Ezra Van Beelen. What I really like about her talk is about the similarities between mindfulness and playfulness. And so she talks a little bit about that, and then how to use that to reduce stress. And we talk a little bit as well about how that could be useful in times of coronavirus as well, and stress from working from home. But that's a really interesting take on adding in mindfulness into the gamification repertoire. I think that's really cool. And following that, we wrapped up the day with a panel session led by Elaine McNish, who, along with our previous speakers from the day, Ben Wilkins, James Voss, and Ezra Van Beelen, they all talk about how behavior change is more effective where groups and support networks are used. And so then how can we apply gamification to make those groups and support networks work better or work at all? I am a big fan of this. Anytime we add groups, socializing, teams, things like that into a gamification project, it's a power up. It makes it more effective. So top tip, go and watch all of today's talks. They're all truly inspiring. You can find the playlist for the Health and Wellness Day at our YouTube channel at Gamification Europe, which, there we go, let me stick this on the screen. Yeah, so go /C/Gamification Europe. Go and subscribe because we've got 3 more days of talks to come yet. So the next day they'll put up will probably be the Communities Day. Then in a couple of weeks' time, we'll have the Marketing and Customer Loyalty Day talks, and ending probably towards the end of February on the Employee Engagement Day talks. They're all just great. So let me know what you think about any of the talks. Feel free to comment on them on the YouTube videos, and let us know if it inspires you. Enjoy our talks. Thanks for listening today.